All right, E. We are live. Hey, hey. There you go. You can hear that, huh, E?
I can hear, but it's low.
Is it low? Oh no.
This that raw, that dope, that pure,
Still low?
cocaine.
That's all right. We'll fix it later.
This that raw, that dope, that pure, uncut cocaine.
Got that Gino.
All that weight I lost, I gained it
Get him,
back.
Gino,
through
get him.
social distancing.
One of my
Got
favorite songs
released,
right now.
did another prison sentence. So many days that I spent repenting.
Come on, Gino.
Cause things not going the way I envisioned.
Said it's too low. Maybe
I'm
my
rapping
volume
like
down.
me
Come on,
from
Gino.
a different dimension. I only got love for particular bitches. You was struggling vicious, wishing that you hit me. Now you call that other nigga your baby.
Yeah.
Wet works.
Come on.
My estimated net worth is enough to make your chest hurt. Knees buckle. You captivated. Back in our last days, I was emasculated.
Come on,
You told
Gino,
me
here we
I
go.
would never amount to two shits. Now I give for a verse what I got for two bricks. Strange love, this is Stanley Kubrick. Eyes
All right,
wide
they
shut
you know
while
what
I'm
that
getting
is.
back
You
in
know
the
what
day.
that is, bro.
I absolutely do. Shout out to Gino Pacino. Good morning, Chicago and the rest of the world.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Money Sex Gen X podcast. I am your host with the most, the man with the plan, the Scottie Pippen of podcast pimping. And I am joined today by the Titan, or with the Titan of Teen Tech, music mogul in the making, the Rashid Wallace of podcast knowledge.
Indeed. Bo.
I mean, my co-host, my brother,
Indeed.
the homie, Big Stu.
Hey, we are back.
We are back. Welcome to season 3.
Season 3.
Season 3, episode number 6. Are you soft for living in the suburbs? We do have a special guest today, and I want to introduce that brother real quick. We are honored to have the Grammy-nominated, multi-platinum music producer, Detroit's very own, Detroit Stand Up, the Electrifying Filthy Rockwell.
Wow. Let me give him a problem. Give him a wow. Let's give him a bomb, bro. Filthy Rockwell in the building. Filthy Rockwell.
What y'all doing?
Filthy, what's going on?
Detroit.
Chilling, man. How's it going, man?
Everything is going good. I want to tell the audience, if they don't know, I know the hip hop heads definitely do. I talked to you a couple weeks ago. I was impressed by your humbleness and your sincerity. So I want to salute you for coming on the show today. I want to tell the audience a little bit more about you. So this brother is an ASCAP award-winning artist, and he holds down a number of different roles in the music industry. He is a songwriter, arranger, composer, he's an exec. He's also an A&R. And guess what? He's worked with some of your favorite artists, including George Clinton, Big Sean, Kanye West, 2 Chainz, one of my favorites, Pusha-T, Joe Budden, and Slaughterhouse.
Wow.
And one of the things that I was impressed the most about Filthy is at the end of 2020, from what I understand, you launched the Filthy Americans Art and Cultural Preservation Center located in Northwest Detroit. And that space includes a streetwear shop, dope music, which I've seen a lot of IG Live showcasing, and is also an art venue.
Wow.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Word.
You do all of that, bro?
Oh, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
He do all of
I'm
that?
working on it, man. You left out I was Grammy-nominated and multi-platinum.
Dang.
How could I do that?
How did you do that?
That's one of the key points. Definitely Grammy-nominated. Hey, yo, one thing that I found out today, I don't know if this is true, Filthy, but did you co-produce the song Mercy with Ye?
I wrote on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, a social media person that put that up to me. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wrote on it. I contributed.
Okay, that's what's
No
up.
doubt. No
One of my
doubt.
favorite joints. So how's life in Detroit right now? What's going on?
Man, it's cold outside.
Yes,
And
sir.
it's snow everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good, man. I mean, it's been great. You know, we in the pandemic, but you know what I'm saying? Filthy Americans, man. We marching through it, man. You know, it's been great, man. You know, it's been quiet around here, you know, lately, but you know, it's still, you know, it's Detroit. You know what it is, man. It's like Chicago, man. You know how it go.
No question. Is it quiet because it's too cold to come outside? What's going on?
I mean, you know, the pandemic then quieted things down. You know, it's not a lot of things open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Filthy Americans Arts and Cultural Preservation Center been open, though. I opened November the 18th, so I've been doing events. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had Keith Murray in town. I did a Murray Merry Christmas event with Keith Murray. We had Keith Murray in town. You know, I've had all the legendary Detroit DJs. They've been doing the Super Friends versus the Legion of Doom, which is my my DJ crew, which you know I'm an evil super villain. So you know, I just been having fun through it, man. We just been having fun, man. We've been just doing events, man. We did a Christmas event there where, we've been, we just been having fun through it, man. Just trying to, you know what I'm saying, keep the spirits up, you know what I'm saying, keep everybody's, spirits high throughout this craziness we're going through, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no question, man. I always respect when people are able to push through in the middle of tough circumstances, because a lot of people might be like, yo, it's a pandemic right now. This is not the time to open up a cultural center. This is not the time to do that. Like Big Stu and I, we started this podcast right at the beginning of the pandemic. And we were like, yo, this is the perfect time to do it. We can't really go outside like that. Let's go ahead and make this happen and shake it down. So I respect that. I saw a lot of the videos on IG when you had the Christmas party, when you had Keith Murray on there. I wanted to ask you, did you have like a particular inspiration other than just kind of wanting to do more for Detroit, but like why a cultural center?
Because I'm the preserver of the culture. So that's my whole thing about, the whole thing. So it was like, instead of just opening up a place where I'm selling t-shirts, I didn't really want to just sell t-shirts. When I started my brand, that wasn't the idea. You know what I'm saying? It was to, create a real brand that's based around, history and culture and, and stuff like that, and music. And, so that's why I did it. So, but as I created the brand, you know what I'm saying? The idea I had, I couldn't really present it fully as just putting it on t-shirts, because I was doing pop-ups for like a year or two for a while. But I had created the brand like probably like 7.5 years ago, maybe like around 2010, or that's where it started. I started incubating, creating it. So I just, from that point to this point, I was just putting this whole thing together, but I just couldn't just sell t-shirts, you know what I'm saying? Or just sell merch. So, the center, it just, man, honestly, man, like this space chose me, to be honest. Like that's the best way I could put it, to tell you the truth. Like the way this whole thing came about, man, it was like meant to be. Like, and the only way I could really present what I was doing was to have my own space. You know what I'm saying? And it couldn't just be a store. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. No, I feel you on that. And now I was going to ask you, I always am very interested in projects that include real estate. So the real estate component of this, was that hard to pull together? Because I know you said you wanted to have the space, but like in terms of the acquisition of the property, was that a difficult process?
So, man, so check it out. I was doing pop-ups, right? So I was just, I really wasn't looking for a space for real, like a store. So I had a couple of offers, and then there was this place here called the Detroit Shipping Company, and it's this cool spot that's made of all shipping containers, right? It's this big placed, but it's made of all shipping containers, and it's dope. So they wanted me to put a spot over there. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is unique. I will do it over here. So I was, you know, talking to them, but you know, to pivot from that, like how I got to this spot, just to, you know, explain to you how I got this space was. So when I first started my brand, I used to do pop-ups, right? Like, so about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, I was doing a pop-up down the street from this place at this really cool spot called the Marble Bar. This is where like most of the like dope techno, techno shows and indie rock shows and stuff like that. They do a lot of little cool events like that down there. You know, like some dope hip hop shows, stuff like that. So I was at a pop-up down there one day. So one night. So when I left around like 2 a.m, down the street, it was these, this is in the hood. This is in the ghetto, like, right? So this is like, this spot is in like it's like in Detroit, in the middle of Detroit. So when I left, it was like some kids, some dudes at the end of the block skating on skateboards. This is not like, this is not, you know, this is like, this didn't exist in Detroit, right? Like back then. So it's like, and it's 2 a.m, and these white boys, they like skating in the hood, and I'm like, what the fuck is, you know what I'm saying? What is this? So I'm looking down the street. Now, this is before I and this was when I started shaping the identity of like, when I saw them skating, right? I had already had my idea. I had trademarked what up though and stuff like that. But this is when it all like came to me like, oh man, I'm gonna make a skate brand. That's when I was like, because I always had a love for skating since I was a kid, right? But that didn't exist in the hood. It just didn't exist. It was something I watched on TV. You know what I'm saying? We saw that on TV and white kids on TV skating. So skating wasn't something we did. So if we had skateboards, we might have them, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So seeing that was like inspiring to me to see them. And I was like, oh man. So the long story short, 5 years later, one of my homies who worked for the mayor's office, who just been a strong supporter of my brand, his name is Adrian Tony. He's so it's this thing in Detroit called in the United States they just brought here, right? Called the 24-hour economy. They trying it in 7 cities right now. They trying it in 7 cities, and Detroit just happens to be one of the cities that they're trying the 24-hour economy in. So they so it's an area where the whole area is 24 hours. It could be open for 24 hours. My store could be open for 24. My store could be open for 24 hours. If you had a coffee shop, a record shop, whatever you got, it could be open for 24 hours in this area, right? So,
nice.
So I'm just trying to speed y'all up. I know I'm jumping around, but I'm trying to.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I definitely got some questions for you about the context, but keep going because I got some questions for you about that. But okay. Keep going, please.
So 5 years. So you know, so my man, he been supporting my brand. He just been really supportive. His name is Adrian Tony. That's my guy. So he's been really supportive of the brand. So he called me one day and he like, yo, I know you thinking about opening up that spot where you at, but you shouldn't open it here. You should come open it at this other space that they're opening. It's in the 24-hour economy. I don't have a lot of time to explain a lot to you, but just trust me. You got to come over here and you have to take this place. I don't care what they tell you. You have to take it. So I'm like, he's like, I'm going to set this meeting up. So I come over there and meet with the developers. And the crazy thing is the spot where I go meet with the developers in this space is in the spot where the kids were skating at 5 years ago at 2 a.m, right?
Right.
So now y'all feel me where I'm coming from. So now I'm like, oh man, like now Adrian knows none of this story, right? But when I go here, I'm like, man, this is crazy, right? So I know I got to take it. So that's how I got here. Like, and they wanted me. I'm the first person they put over here in this area and stuff. Like it's no other business. It's like it's other brand. It's a couple of other people over there. It's like 2 other brands over there. It's like the big recycling center thing is over here too. But it's like not really a lot over here. I'm the first person to come over here. So I'm like, I'm super happy to just come over here. And it's just a place. It's called Art Park. So it's where like artists come from all over the world to come and graffiti artists, and you know they just come from all over the world just to do art here. Like it's a lot of artists that from New York that's done a lot of stuff here. It's like all of the whole area is just crazy, and it's like no other space like this in Detroit. A lot of people come here and they feel like it reminds them of Berlin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a really unique area, and they're about to start building and stuff over there. But I'm just happy to be the first person over here. And it had the spot where these kids were skating at. I learned that Levi's had built, like, the story is so crazy. Levi's had built this, they had paid these guys to build this little thing just so they can shoot this promo, right?
Oh,
so they built it, the dudes, they built the little skate thing, but it was like a thing for the community. So everybody was skated. It was like a popular skate park, a popular little skate. It's like a street skate thing, right? So that was some years ago when Levi's paid these guys to build it. But the crazy thing about this whole story, right, is I came up with this idea when I got over here to revitalize the skate park, because now it's like kind of like messed up, because like the city had like went through there and like tried to plow snow and broke the thing up, and they people still come over here, frequent the area, right, all the time, and do photo shoots and they skate and all of this. So my idea was to revitalize it, you know what I'm saying, and adopt the whole area. Like, oh man, this is dope. Like, it's like abandoned by the city, but one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So we like, oh man, this is great. This is gonna be, so we just adopted it and cleaned it up and everything. So, and the craziest part of the story is 3 days ago, I had this idea to revitalize the skate park, right? But I didn't really know how I was gonna do it, because I know nothing about it, So 3 days ago, I have a meeting with a guy, and it just so happens to be the very guy that built the skate park in the first place, right? So he like, I tell him my idea, he love it. He like, yo, we're gonna help you. The community is gonna come in and help you rebuild it. We're gonna all build it. We just need you to buy the materials, and we're gonna build it for free. So now it's gonna be super dope. And I got the word from the city. They're not gonna put traffic through there. They're gonna really like let us have this area. So we're gonna rebuild it. I'm all my events starting from now on that I'm doing is like all geared towards raising money to rebuild the skate park, because we want to we're gonna have it cracking by the summer. You know what I'm saying? So I know I just told y'all a long story, but
thank you for sharing.
That's pretty much how I got here. Like, so yeah, this area chose me. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I had the idea for what I wanted to do, like all the pieces of the puzzle started falling in place, to be quite honest.
Indeed. Stu, you have some questions?
Sorry, I put myself on mute. Let me ask you a couple of questions, man, about how Detroit are you? I have strong Detroit connections, man.
Right.
School, Asbury Park and Schoolcraft connections, bro. Back in the 80s connections. So how Detroit are you? Are you born and raised in Detroit?
Yeah, Mr. Detroit, born and raised.
No doubt.
On the east side too, so super Detroit.
So what high school Detroit?
I went to Osborne, but not for long.
Okay. I know a lot of people that went to, I believe it was Cass.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my people went to Cass.
Yeah, see, so look, check it out. So Detroit, right? When we're talking about Detroit, we're talking about Detroit. So Detroit is Detroit, all of Detroit is Detroit. But the black people, when it comes to the black people in Detroit, the black people lived on the east side of Detroit first, back in the 30s and the 40s.
That's what I'm talking about right here.
I'm a historian too.
Look, the reason I want to, Detroit is one of the nation's most underrated cities. Yet it is it's one of the backbones of this country. But Detroit gets little to no love. Detroit gets little love.
The other thing I found out about Detroit, and you all probably knew this already, it has one of the highest populations of black people out of the city.
It's the blackest city in America.
Yeah,
Detroit is. I love Detroit. I love Detroit. But keep going, man, please.
In the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, Detroit was a black utopia. We had all black politicians,
indeed,
black mayor, black police chief, it was all black. It was all black people. That's why so I got an album. I put out an album called Filthy America, and that's what it's about. It's talking about the it's an instrumental based album, but it's like the way I put it together, like I put other things in it to like create like a story. It's a storyline. It's storyline hip hop. But it talks about it tells the story about black people dreaming, it's dreaming in color, the beautiful nightmare. And dreaming in color is black people dreaming that if we all had a black utopia, how we could all just, get away from white supremacy and life would be so great. Right. Well, Detroit is the example of what it would be like if we all had a black utopia, because we did have a black utopia. And the beautiful nightmare is the result of what Detroit turned into.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But Detroit is the blackest city. It was the blackest city in America. It's gentrified now, you know what I'm saying? Like we got a white mayor, and so the game is changing. But shout out to the white mayor, because he that's him that put me over here.
Help you out.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, man, dog, like Detroit. So that's what I was gonna say. I'm sorry about that. So Detroit, when we talk about Detroit, and I know you was talking about cast and stuff like that, but in Detroit, it's like, like the black people, and it's black people all over Detroit.
Sure,
but what I'm saying is, in Detroit, the very first black people, the very root of black people, the people where they moved, they was on the east side, the side where I'm from. Like that's where the original Detroiters started.
Now, how far is that from Motown?
Yeah. Well,
so
Motown, that's that. Well, check it out. That's the neighborhood I'm in.
That's
I'm down the street from Motown. Yeah. The 24-hour economy goes from Motown to the Filthy Americans. So you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of
Motown is in Northwest Detroit.
Yep.
Okay.
It's at the end of my block.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm in that neighborhood. So it's like, we in that neighborhood. They right down the street from us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm in conversations like with them. I rock with Motown, man.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, Filthy, I want to ask you this before we dive into this. We're gonna dive.
Before you say that, but when I was talking about Detroit, I'm talking about Roots. Alex Haley is from the east side of Detroit. I'm talking about the east side. The east side is where not Elijah Muhammad, but before Elijah Muhammad, it was.
Oh, you're talking about you're not talking about Clarence 13X, are you?
No.
Got me stuck.
No, Elijah Muhammad. Detroit.
Elijah's from Detroit.
Elijah Muhammad.
We got to do the actual factuals.
East side of Detroit. Paradise Valley is where they started. That whole movement started on the east side of Detroit, in Paradise Valley, downtown Detroit. That's where it started. That's where Temple 1 is right now in Detroit.
Yeah, I do know that. I know Temple 1.
Yeah, that's why it's Temple 1, because this is where they started.
You are correct.
But Detroit, we wasn't buying it. Like, Detroiters, they just didn't buy into it. So they took it to Chicago, and it worked. You know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about Wallace Farrar? Are you talking about Wallace Farrar Muhammad?
No, I'm talking about Elijah Muhammad.
Okay, it does say Elijah Muhammad took over in Detroit, but it also says Wallace arrived in Detroit in 1930.
Yeah, you talking about, that's the original OG. He number one. You talking about Farad?
Yeah, Wallace was
number one. He the one that gave Elijah Muhammad the game. That's where he got it from, right here in Detroit. That's where it started. That's what I'm saying. This is the blackest city in America. All of those, most of those things that happened with in the civil rights movement. Did you know most of that footage that you see is from Detroit?
Yeah,
like those Martin Luther King marches. The biggest march ever put on by in the civil rights era by black, that black march was in Detroit. It wasn't down south. It was nowhere else. It was over 300,000 people that marched with Martin Luther King in Detroit.
Okay.
And another little nugget, when they marched, and this is just, this, you only gonna hear this when you talk to your grandma. But when they did the march, when the white people started throwing stuff, Martin Luther King jumped in his limo and sped off with his people. And this came from my homie's grandma told me this. When we was talking about him, and she was like, "Oh, that Martin Luther King," hey. And she got to going in, and I was like, "Damn."
Yeah, everybody wasn't rocking with King, man.
They gonna tell you that part of the story.
Everybody wasn't rocking with him.
Yeah, like Malcolm X, that's Detroit Red. This is the blackest city in America. So of course we underdogs. We the ones that took on the army. We took on the army in 1967. You know what I'm saying? Like, so of course they didn't want the rest of the black America to know that, oh, y'all got some brothers in Detroit that's standing up.
Right.
So we gotta stop this. So that's where all, like, if you go do your Googles, like the niggas say, do your Googles, you'll see.
I'm glad that you making knowledge born to the audience about Detroit, because Detroit definitely does have a rich history and a legacy, and you don't hear it talked about that much at all, especially like you're giving us some actual facts right now that a lot of the younger listeners probably never heard. And even myself, I forgot about Elijah Muhammad in Temple Number 1. Like, I do those things, but it's not something that was at the top of my mind.
Yeah.
That's
man.
I just want to put it on record. I got major love for Detroit. I love Detroit. I love Detroit, man. I
love Chicago. Chicago is dope.
Yeah, you made that clear.
Listen, Kanye inspired me, dog.
Wow.
I ain't gonna lie. Kanye.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow. And I'm just saying, wow.
Kanye.
Right, yeah.
Like we got Jay Dilla, but Kanye is who I seen was like, oh man, I could do it. That's who I was listening to. You know what I'm saying? And then we had, like, it just so happened that I just come from Detroit, so my bass line's a little funkier, but you know what I'm saying? Like, my drums a little better. But that's just that soul in me from Detroit. But Kanye, man, though, that's where it started like that. That's where it started for me, honestly. So yeah, man, for real, shout out to Chicago too.
No doubt. I want to ask you about this. So we're going to get into this, are you soft for living in the suburbs? But I want to ask you this. How does it feel to be Grammy nominated and a multi-platinum music producer? Like, what does that feel like? Is there, like, the first time when you actually got nominated, what was the feeling that you had? I'm sure you were happy and all that, but like, how did that make you feel in terms of your view on the world? Did it change at that point?
Can I tell you the truth?
Yeah.
Please do.
When Detroit gave me a Detroit award, it felt way better. I ain't gonna lie, I was so much more geek when Detroit gave me a Detroit award. I was like, what? Oh my God. But with the Grammy, it was kind of like, it's dope, of course. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. Did you feel like it was long overdue at the time, or was it right? No, it didn't feel long overdue because I never thought I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? It was never like a thought that it was never let far away as in my mind, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem like it was that far away. Like, so, so, like, that's just one time. Like, that's just.
So what did it feel as good as you thought it might feel being in that position, or was it the thought overrated compared to the reality?
You know what? I'll tell you what, if I would have went to the Grammys and all of that, it probably would have been a different experience.
Right.
But, getting the plaque and stuff is dope, and having the Grammy on the wall and like, oh yeah, the Grammy nomination, and, and that's cool. It's cool, but, I don't know.
Does that stop you?
I'm trying to make a different type of impact. So like, it's just not the, you know what I'm saying? It's dope though. I don't want to sound like I don't appreciate it, because I really do. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a dope feeling. You know what I'm saying? But
it's a nice card to be able to play, man. It's a nice card.
I was going to ask you that, because I was going to say, like, is that one of those things? I remember back in the day, like, people will pull up in a certain whip and they wouldn't have to do no talking after that.
Yeah.
I'm Grammy nominated. It's a lot I don't even have to say.
You know what? Okay, so yeah, if I could walk in the studio and be like Grammy nominated and everybody stop talking, that'd be great. But they're not gonna stop talking, but they think they know more than me. So it's like
them dudes ain't honoring that. They don't honor that. And
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. You work with yeah, man. Like, that's cool.
I'm listen to what I got.
I don't even really be on it like that.
Yeah, I know you.
I just be in my own. I just be in my own little world, man, making my own music, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like way more rewarding to me.
Because I did my own research to find out your accomplishments. When we talked on the phone, you didn't even get into any of that. And I really
because I'm underground like Dilla.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, man, I'm underground, man. You know, that's I'm champion in the underground. So I'm like, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm so on it, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like,
what's my other dude? My other producer dude I listen to all the time, Apollo Brown.
Yeah.
And he Detroit?
Brown from Detroit, yep.
Yeah,
Detroit
I love
too,
him, man.
I never met Apollo Brown, but I'm definitely well aware because he did the rhythm roulette and I did the rhythm roulette too. So yeah, yep. And then we did it the same week. Matter of fact, they flew here to do Apollo Brown and then they did me too.
Oh, that's dope.
Yep.
I want to give a shout out to Shekinah Melbourne, who is the person who connected myself and Filthy. I've known Shekinah for many years, and I want to thank her for bringing us together and making this happen.
Let's give her a shout out, Shekinah.
Yeah. Shekinah Melbourne, Esquire, the owner and founder of Upton Law. Yes.
I never asked her what the Esquire is about.
I don't even really know what that means. I don't know.
That's like a Grammy, man. It's like a Grammy, man.
Yeah. Hey, look, Shekinah definitely got Shekinah ain't Grammy nominated. She got like 10 of them. She got like 10 Grammys. She didn't win. She's going crazy.
She got the Esquire, bro. That's what that
is. The Esquire. Yeah. She a big dog.
And another humble individual, man. Like Shekinah is so accomplished at a very young age, just very humble. I love humble people. So yeah, thank you for that. So now we're gonna get into this conversation. So I'm gonna just ask you straight out, Filthy, and let me let the people know where we are. So you rocking with the MONEYSEXGENX podcast. This is season 3, episode number 6. We at number 6. Are you soft?
Oh, you know what? Before we go, I almost disrespected Shekinah. Shekinah is my that's my attorney, and she she my manager. So I'll let Shekinah.
Okay, got to do that. Your lawyer and manager, Shekinah Melbourne. And we're here on episode.
She Filthy Americans.
Filthy American, and I'm gonna talk to you more about that too. Episode number 6. Are you soft for living in the suburbs? Filthy, I want to ask you this question straight out. Is a person soft? And we're really talking about black people. Let's keep it a buck. We're talking about, are black people soft for living in the suburbs?
Dang.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think black people soft for living in the suburbs. I mean, it is, man. It is kind of funny how some people act when they move to the suburbs, man. Y'all gotta relax, man. Like, I know people that live in the suburbs that act like they gotta get out of the city before the street lights. It'd be like weird, like they be living in the city all their lives and they move to the suburbs. But I understand it because if you watch the news will scare you. They'll scare you. They'll have you thinking everybody is dying every other second in the city.
Yeah, but that's bugged out though, because if you lived in the city all your life, you know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that a lot of times we're so and I live in the suburbs now, but I had a crazy route. The reason why I live in the suburbs, I got here because where I was living at in the city burned all the way down, the building that I was living in. So I had nowhere to live.
No, you could. So you saying, Eric, you saying there was no other place in the city. You had to go to the suburbs.
Now let me tell you though, it's the story. So look, I've lived.
No, Rock Filthy, you heard that. It was no other place in the city.
Hey, I know how it is, man.
Check it out. Hey, you gotta keep this in mind, though, man. Everybody got a different path. And I'm not one of these people that's embarrassed about living in the suburbs. I like living in the suburbs, you know, but it wasn't something that I thought about. I always walked around and I would tell people I will never live in the suburbs.
Dang.
I always used to say that.
Dang.
You know what I mean? I just couldn't see it. It just seemed like it was whack to me. But at the time I was living on the north side, the building burned down and I had State Farm insurance. And thankfully I had this insurance. And anybody out there, if you got an apartment, a house, whatever, please get renters or homeowners insurance because you never know when you might need it. So some dude was working on the lower floors with a tool. The tool caught on fire and the entire building burned down.
Damn.
So I come home, everybody's standing out on the street looking crazy. We lost everything. My kids is crying. I'm standing there looking crazy.
Terrible.
So I called my brother. I was like, yo, man, I lost my crib. Like everything burned down. He was like, yo, call your insurance company immediately. Because I'm in shock. So he told me, call your insurance company immediately. Call State Farm. State Farm said, yo, your coverage actually allows us to relocate you, but you have to kind of stay where we're telling you to stay. And I'm like, well, where do I have to stay? They said, we have accommodations at Holiday Inn in Evanston for you to live. I was like, all right, bet. So they got me up in there and I lived in there for almost 2 months. You know what I mean? And they paid for everything and all of that. And while I was there, I was like, yo, I like it out here. Nice. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of got used to it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and live in the suburbs. Now, as I'm saying that to myself, I'm still tripping in my head. I'm like, yo, you're going to live in the suburbs? Like, crazy. And even before I got all the way out there, people started messing with me. They was like, yo, you live in the suburbs and this, that, and the other. But they also understood that I was there because of the fire. So I stayed out here. So I love it. I'm glad that it happened. You know, things came together. But I will be the first person to say, you're a lie if you don't say that the suburbs makes you a little bit softer.
For sure.
You're softer, nigga, because nobody's shooting at you. You're not really arguing with people like that. You know, the way that people's disposition is just a lot milder in the suburbs. And so that's
definitely not staying dangerous in the suburbs.
Nah, not at all.
I'm from the Wild Hunters, Filthy. South side of Chicago. You may have heard of it. It's global. It's global. Wild Hunters, South side. But before when I'm divorced in my marriage, I did not want my kids. There was no neighborhoods that I felt safe in the city where I could let my kids ride their bike and feel cool. I was going to the suburbs for that reason. Now I'm divorced. I'm back on the block, Filthy. Back on the block. This time it's like, I don't think the hood will let me breathe the way I want to if I don't get up out of here. I don't think I could have certain things. I think I got to downplay it if I stay here. Yeah. But at least if I go to the birds, I could breathe a little bit. But the hood, I think they'd be watching. They looking at what kind of car you pulling up in, what kind of shoes you wearing out, looking to see if there's any big boxes by your garbage. You know what I mean? Like the hood it sometimes be plotting is some of the sentiment. Do either of you agree with any of those sentiments?
Not only do I agree with it, I've experienced it, but what I want to say to those, Stu, is this: like, are we going to keep using that as an excuse to run to the suburbs, though? Because if we don't ever stay and try to figure it out, is it going to ever get?
We don't help the community. Yeah, we gotta get our Filthy Rockwell on, bro.
I mean, usually that's just them one dudes next door. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is just move them. You know, make a phone call, get them eliminated, in the neighborhood is safe again.
Wow!
It's never the hood. It's never the
wow!
It ain't
it's been said.
That's true.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's only them one people. It's like, oh yeah, oh they the problem. Oh okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when the mayor show up. Like, okay, I'm gonna make a phone call.
Right.
You know? Like. But seriously though, man,
that's so real.
Just imagine if on the block these little niggas across the street keep breaking in everybody's house, but you gonna move? Instead of knock on your neighbor's door and say, hey man, these little niggas broke in your house too, and y'all ain't gonna get together and do nothing about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Y'all gonna run from y'all neighborhood. Y'all done bought y'all homes. Y'all done lived in these houses all y'all life. Y'all done grew up in these homes. And this one family on the block, or two families or whatever, it ain't gonna be the whole block. It's just gonna be them. And you move them. The police ain't gonna move them. You move them.
Yo, another thing that comes up too, and I think we have to be real about this. We had a comment.
They can come home to how your building was. They can come home to that very easily, and nobody know what happened.
True that. We had a comment here.
I don't know. I mean, that might just be a little. I might be a little sinister, but I'm from the east side of Detroit. Like, no, you're not gonna run me out of my house. Like, no, man. Sure. I live on ancient Indian burial grounds. My ancestors is here.
Wow.
That's where I get my power from, man. Y'all can't run me out of here. If I go to the burbs, I'm gonna lose all my juice. I don't know.
That could happen. Hey, we got a comment. Somebody, Rosalind Alexis, said they clock in the suburbs too.
I guess so. I guess
they
that's
do.
the real thing. Yeah, that's
one thing you gotta keep in mind in Chicago. Just because you're in the suburbs doesn't mean you're in a good neighborhood either. You think about the south suburbs and places like that. That don't mean you good and everything is easy out there.
Thank you, Rob.
Man, look, my manager, he live in the suburbs. And the first day he moved out there, he got this rare old school car. The first day he moved out there, they stole it.
The first day.
They watched him. He was moving his stuff in his house, moving his stuff in there. And they watched it and they stole his car.
In the suburbs.
My friend live in the suburbs. And they done stole his car like he got a Charger. They done stole his car like 3 times in the suburbs.
Yeah, man, it can happen.
So it's just like I'm not saying it is a lot more comfortable, but because this is the thing. I lived in the suburbs before. I'm not like a person that never lived in the burbs before. When I was a kid, after my mom died, I moved to the suburbs with my sister. You know what I'm saying? And that was like back when black people didn't live in the suburbs amongst white people. Like, that's another thing about Detroit. Detroit is the most segregated city in America too. Did y'all know that?
Nah, maybe not. They come close to Chicago. I don't know.
I don't
Chicago's really segregated too. I ain't saying y'all not.
It's the most segregated city in the world. There ain't
Chicago.
In America, look, check it out. In Detroit, this is where redlining started. Y'all know what redlining is?
Yeah.
This is where it started. See,
explain redlining for the people who might not know what redlining is.
Okay, it's the wall the original wall that they started with the redlining, it still exists right now and it's still standing right now here in Detroit today. So redlining is how, it was a time where black people couldn't live certain places, right? So that's why Smokey Robinson and them lived in the hood with us. That's why Marvin Gaye and them was still in the hood. Like, that's why Berry Gordy and them was still living in the hood, because they had money, but they couldn't move out.
The banks drew a red line around the areas where they were anti-giving housing mortgages to.
Right.
Yep. And so that's the red line is that area that they've outlined to kind of keep blacks out of.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
the reason why I'm saying that started in Detroit, like, because this is where black people, a lot of this is why this was the blackest city in America, because this was one of the first places where black people had money. Before any other place in America, black people had money in Detroit, because this is where the cars, this is where the factories started.
Y'all was getting it for
so
sure.
So that's why I'm like, how would New Yorkers or anybody else have more money than us? Of course we had all the dope. Of course we were buying all the birds. That's where the drug game started, in Detroit. Like, the crack era started they started in California, but it bloomed in Detroit because it's all black. You know what I'm saying? And we had money from the factory. So that's what I'm saying. But redlining started. This is the most segregated city in America. Even though we had all this money, we still had to live in Detroit. We couldn't move to the suburbs. But also, and I know y'all gonna have to do the Googles again on this, but Detroiters are the first people who was to move amongst the white people. The YBI, the Young Boys Incorporated, Butch Jones and them, that was the first time when black people started. Well, before that, it was some other dudes that moved into Southfield. Southfield was a white suburb, but they moved. That's where black people started moving because we had enough money to buy the house. The realtor can't tell you nothing when you give him, you know, all the money cash. He ain't gonna tell you. It ain't black and white don't exist no more. So Detroit is where that first started happening at. But this was like, it's still super segregated. Now listen, I'm not telling you this because I knew this as a kid. Like most of us in Detroit don't even know this. Like it's a place called Cass Corridor here, right? In Detroit. It was the biggest breeding ground. It was the biggest recruiting ground for the KKK. It's in Detroit. I'm talking about in the world, the biggest recruiting ground. All white people, all KKK members, this is where they was at in the 30s and 40s and 50s. You know what I'm saying? And I learned this from a historian that I met. But this is also the place where the headquarters for the KKK is in Howell, Michigan. So that's why I'm telling y'all all this. I ain't just saying this because I'm just claiming it. No, I know this. I know what I'm talking about. So this is the most segregated city in America. You know what I'm saying? But
you know what?
But, you know, it don't. But we thrived in Detroit. We made Detroit what it is. We birthed black culture, like for real. Like so, you know.
Yeah, I can't.
Out of that, we made lemonade out of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to do this on every episode. When we get into these topics, we try to define what the concept is that we're actually talking about. So I want to ask you all, what is the definition of the word suburb? What does that mean?
I thought you was gonna go with what's soft, trying to define what soft is.
We can get to that. But we got some younger people.
I guess it's the sub of urban. What you know? I guess it's the sub of urban.
Well, it's outside the city limits. It's outside the. I describe the suburbs as outside of the city limits.
Okay.
You don't live in the city. You know, like in Chicago, we real big about, for example, somebody being born and raised in Evanston, but then when they go outside of the Illinois, they say they from Chicago. Yeah. And you meet another person from Chicago and be like, because you're gonna ask them basically if you really get it. So what high school did you go to? And you're like, oh, I went to Evanston Township. You're like, motherfucker, you ain't from Chicago.
These white people from Detroit. These white people are not from Detroit. They are not from our city. I'm telling you, they be going outside. They are from the burbs. Like they did not grow up with us. We do not know them. No, they are not from our city. It was all black people. We went to school. Now listen. I'm joking, but seriously, like in the 80s, like it was white people and black people mixed in Detroit at one point in time. Because when I was growing up, it was the few white people left from white flight. When white flight happened, all the white people left, and it was all the black people took over. You know what I'm saying? So all the people from down south and everybody came here. And after white flight was over, that's how it became a black mecca. You know what I'm saying? But it was a few white people left in the neighborhoods. Them was the only one because they ain't had no money and they couldn't leave. Them was the only people left. But no, like I've been hearing people like asking me like, oh man, like Benzino asked me though. He was like, man, you for real? White people don't run Detroit. And I'm like, dog, what are you talking about? Man. He really thought that white people was in the neighborhoods like just like I'm like, what? Y'all thought
So man, put it into context. Marshall Mathers. Is he from the city or is he from outside of the city?
Eminem is from outside the city, but he is also from the city. And the reason why Eminem is from the city, and I can say Eminem is from the city personally, because I used to be around Eminem. I used to see Eminem. Like when we was young and broke and ain't had no money, we used to get new fresh shoes and walk around the mall. Did y'all do that too?
Yeah. For sure.
Okay, that's what we did. And talk to girls, right? Okay.
For sure.
So that's what we did too. Eminem used to do the same thing. He used to be all by himself walking around the mall. He was Eminem too. He was a rapper. He was an Eminem and he had his project out. But, nobody, in Detroit, that hip hop don't really like, that's why I'm kind of like hip hop ain't really a thing in Detroit for real. So Eminem, yeah, he from Detroit. Like, he was like, we was on Runyon and 7 Mile. We was on Beelan and 7 Mile. Eminem was on Runyon and 7 Mile. That's 2 or 3 streets over from us. He used to live on Runyon with Proof in them and all of them. They used to all be over there. So yeah, Eminem, I don't think he's born and raised in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's definitely like, he ain't faking it. Like, we definitely
y'all give him the pass. He gets the pass.
He was dusty right along with us. Matter of fact, like, for real, he was dusty right along with us. Like, matter of fact, to tell you the truth, when I used to see Eminem, he would always have new shoes, but he would have on the same clothes for like, that's the East Side thing.
Yeah.
He from the East Side like us, so that's what, you might see it, but he would have on it. Like, Eminem though, he would have on it all month. The same shirt, same pants.
The new pair of shoes will clean up your whole outfit, bro.
Man,
it doesn't matter,
Man, he'll keep his shoes clean and his shoelaces clean.
Yeah.
But I'm not cracking jokes on him because
it's just the real thing.
That's what it was.
Like, he was the homie. He was a loner like me. So me and him used to see each other and we'd talk. I had my homies, but we'd see each other and kick it. Like, the first time I got on stage and rapped, it was because of Eminem.
And Big Sean from inside the city.
Sean is from the city. But he like a
See, he not from the city. He ain't from the inside circle. He ain't from the city. But y'all claim him because he put on for the city. But he ain't from the city. Come on, it's okay. It's safe. It's safe. He loves Zeno. Big Zeno, I love you. I love you, Big Zeno. I love you, Big Sean. They're my brothers. But all right, we're gonna call it what it is. I get it.
See, okay, look, Sean. Zeno lived down the street from me. So Zeno is Zeno, but okay, so Zeno from the East Side, but he used to live like down the way, like where the good house is at. But Zeno from the East Side too, but okay, it was a generation of kids that didn't come outside, right? It was a generation of us that did play outside, and then there was a generation of us that didn't really come outside and play. Sean and them is probably, they kind of like the generation of kids that didn't come outside, right? Like those kids that that didn't really play with it, like I don't know, man.
You don't know.
Like, that was the thing that everybody would ask me, because Sean is that's my little homie. So when they was coming up, I was like not coming up, but he was signed to Kanye, but I was the dude that was like, man, where he from? Where he from? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, is he from the hood where they know him in his neighborhood? I don't think they know him. They ain't know him or nothing, but they knew Sean and Cass, but he went to Cass. Like, that's what all the
all my people from Detroit, they like that. They that bougie style, bro. That's them people, man. They good.
See, that's what I'm telling you. And that's why I'm telling you about the East Side and the West Side. Sean went to Cass. Of course, he's like, people to wonder if he's from Detroit. He ain't play outside. He wasn't flipping on dirty mattresses. He didn't play in crack houses. He didn't discover his first body in the alley with his friends playing basketball like I did. Like, he didn't run across a dead body like we did. I grew up in the crack era. My little friends was bringing crack to school, and we was like, damn, what's that? Like, we were the kids, and our friends is, bringing crack to school and crazy glue tubes. Sean ain't from that. Right. He's from the era of fucking playing Pokemon and, Nintendo Switch and whatever the fuck they was playing. Like, so, and I'm only telling you because Sean is my homie.
Right.
I know him at that time. I know who he is. He wasn't turning up to Blade Icewood and KDZ and the shit that we.
And it don't take nothing away from his artistry or his contributions to hip hop. He's one of the best MCs of all time.
But now ask me about Bodie James. Bodie James is.
I love him. I love Bodie James.
Like, me and Bodie James. If I'm going to the gas station, me and Bodie bumping into each other.
Wow.
We at the liquor store, we bumping into each other. We at Shakina, we at the shoe store. I'm bumping into Bodie. I'm going to the weed spot. Bodie over there chilling. Like, that's me and Bodie James. We really from Sada, and we all really from Detroit. Like,
we
wasn't seeing Zeno and Sean and his friends in none of those spots we was in. But
a lot of the Chicago rappers, they from the city, bro. Like Common, 87. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Prime Fest. Jeffrey Manor, Kanye, 87, 75th. He went to I used to work at the school he went to, but it's on the block. You know what I mean? They called him K-Rock. That's a Stone's name. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then his people moved to the suburbs, but he came back to the city. Like all them cats, Lil Durk and all them, East Side, them Chicago. Now Juice World was from the South suburbs. You know, that younger gentleman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, rest in peace to Juice World. But
yeah,
our Chicago rappers be from the city. Yeah, Chief Keef, Chicago. All right, Eric, what we got, bro?
No, this is an interesting conversation. I did a little bit of research. We were talking about, and they were talking about the different types of suburbs, and I never knew that there was such a thing. They got the mature suburb, and then they have something called, it's another one I can't find right now, but a developing suburb. So the mature
actual factuals.
Yeah, this is the actual factual. So the mature suburbs are the ones that they say are located closer to a central city. So like an Evanston or whatever is kind of like a mature suburb. And then they got the developing suburb is the ones where it's mostly just white people. It's wealthier and they have a larger white population. The two types of suburbs.
Mature and developing.
Mature and developing.
See, so the west side of Detroit is where that's where they from. So but the west side it's the ghetto too, but the west side that's where, it was developed. That's where the working class black people was at. That's where people had money at. If you see the west side of Detroit and the east side, you'll see the difference in the houses and how the houses look. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where people had money at, the west side. Detroit was a city made for white people though. You know what I'm saying? That's the other thing. Like this is called the paradise of the West. I don't know if y'all ever heard this, but the same people that built Paris built Detroit. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of money here. You know what I'm saying? So they was able to build Detroit. The same people that built Paris built Detroit. So all these houses, you know what I'm saying? They was built, for people with money. You know what I'm saying? But the west side houses, they bigger. It's a lot of houses like that on the east side too, like all over Detroit. But the west side is like a little different. You know what I'm saying? So they had moms and dads in the homes on the west side. You know what I'm saying? On the east side, ain't moms and dads in the house. On the east side, crack hit first. You know what I'm saying? Crack hit first. So when you look at the YBI story and stuff like that, they're gonna tell you where they started the hustles at. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is where, so it just show you the difference between the sides of town, the different sides. Like that's a working class, that's working class on the west side. Well now like everybody kind of in the same position, but that's what it used to be like the east side. A lot of people didn't have jobs and homeless. I mean,
Is there a south side? Is there a south side of Detroit? I never hear anybody reference south.
No, it's the south. It's the southwest side. Southwest.
See, that's how it is in Chicago. They got a southwest. We got a southeast. We don't have a real east side in Chicago because it's the lake.
East side of Chicago.
They call it the east side, but it's really
it's not. It's no really. It's just over east. It's the lake. Your over west is the lake.
Yeah, Southwest. That's where there's a lot of Mexicans live in Southwest Detroit. That's where the Mexicans live.
Yeah. We got a north side, south side, west side. We don't really have an east side.
It's like that here. The southwest side is mostly Mexican. There's a lot of Mexicans.
Yeah, see, that's crazy, right? One time I was I wanted to find out why was it like that, and like the east side, a lot of places, the east side is where it's where it's like. Where it's live at, where a lot of crazy stuff happened on the east side in a lot of cities. And I was wondering why is the east side where most ghettos at? And I found out it was because of the way the wind blow, which is crazy. But wherever the wind, where down, like where the east side was where the wind blow, like that's why you said like southeast, you said it's by the river, right? Where's by
the lake? We got Lake Michigan, Lake Michigan, yeah.
Right here in Detroit, we by the water. Like it's so weird, but at one point in time, being by the water was not a good thing. So they put the poor people by the water.
Right.
But now being by the water, like now they just now starting to buy up all the homes and all that property by the water. Detroit then took it all back now. But it's funny how that's what they put the poor people on the east side.
Yeah, we in Chicago we called it, man. So our east side in Chicago is south. So it's they SEC. ESC, East Side Crazy. And
Okay.
jokingly, we call them, and that's people in the South Shore community, mostly primarily. But we just said jokingly, man, that wind off that water hit different in the winter. Like you got to be different to live on that lake in the winter. You talk about it's cold in Chicago. Go over by the lake right now.
Yeah,
It's a problem, bro. It's a problem. So you can
It's
live
crazy.
on the east in the winter. You built for it. You stronger. You just better. You just stronger.
no doubt.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But man, Detroit is a beautiful city, man. Like I was just telling y'all, like I had Keith Murray and Hula Dula here, man, and we just rolled them around and took them to Motown, and it was just like they was like freaking out, man. They was going crazy, man. Like the homie Hula Dula, he shedded real tears because he just couldn't believe he was at Motown. And I'm like, and they was just, I'm like, but y'all from New York. And they like, yeah, y'all think that New York. They like, but nah, man, this Detroit. And see, these dudes is a little older, so they got a different type of appreciation for Detroit. So they was just happy to see the Martin building, the building Martin lived in, and they was just so happy to just see Detroit. We just rolled them around and just showed them the city. But yeah, man, it's definitely an interesting place. I hope I'm not on here making y'all it sound like it's a horrible thing, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's just segregated. That's all. But it's dope though. Like it's dope. Like we was able to create a lot of culture like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever? I know you may have had thoughts about possibly moving to the suburbs at some point. Is that something that crosses your mind sometimes?
Yeah, like what Dog was just saying. He right. Like, you know, like it's certain ways. You know, you just have to move and you know, and like he's saying, like you don't know who watching you and who looking, and you know what I'm saying. All of that stuff, like that ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? That ain't never fun. You know what I'm saying? Having to even think like that. And, you know, just that ain't never fun, because, you know, like in the burbs, you get to leave. You know, people might be plotting in the burbs, but it's way less likely that they are on your block than it is in, you know, in the hood. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? In the hood, it's multiple people that's hungry and plotting. You know what I'm saying?
I got a question. Is there a community, an affluent community inside of the city that you could live that would feel like you were in the suburbs, but it's in the city? What would that be?
I'm glad you asked that. So that's what I was going to get to. I'm glad you asked that. I was going to say, so that's what has happened now, right? So now that the city has been gentrified and there's a lot more businesses and developers coming in from all over the world, things are changing now, right? So now you can go downtown Detroit and you can get the same feeling as you would if you was in Birmingham or Royal Oak or these other suburbs. They bringing that vibe to Detroit, right? That's why my homies from the mayor's office wanted me to go over here in the 24-hour economy, because they wanted me to help offset that, because they knew that they was going to do that to the 24-hour economy too. And they like, no, we got to have black people, original black people from Detroit in the 24-hour economy helping build this thing, because they was just going to make it another suburban thing. But downtown Detroit, all through midtown Detroit, even on the east side, it's places that used to be notorious, like streets like Mac, like where further down Mac is completely suburban now. It's neighborhoods that was completely, you know, that they didn't did the Watusi to, and you know, and switched it up. So yeah, it's a lot of that. You know, it used to be a lot more decay and all of that, like in 2008 and earlier, but over the years, like really since we got Mayor Duggan in, you know what I'm saying, they done brought the money in. Now you know how it worked. When the black mayors was in, they was like, oh no, we don't know where the money is, y'all. As soon as they was out, they was like, oh wow, it go 300 million. We don't know where that came from.
Wow.
You know, all type of money fell out the sky when the white mayor took over. But when the black mayors was here, oh yeah, man, we was going through. It was crazy. But the thing is, man, it's still the city where we had money though. So it was like, you know, I've seen what poverty looked like in other cities and stuff, and I'd be like, damn. Like I saw what poverty used to look like for Detroiters back before the riots and stuff, and back before the 60s and back in the 40s, man. And Shit, we got it great now, man. Like, I ain't gonna lie, man. We be looking at these houses we live in, man, and we be trapping out of houses, and they got marble window sills because people with money used to live there. But, you know, niggas that bust out the door and we trapping out of them. And, you know what I'm saying? But this is what was left behind. You know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Rosalind says this is why mixed income, especially for the U.S., is important. Yeah. It's an interesting comment.
Mixed income?
Mixed income.
Like living, I guess she's saying like resident mixed income living situations or
just everybody being one income level, I think is what she's saying.
Talking about the 24-hour economy. I got a question for you, Filthy, and before I turn it back over to Eric, would you say that people should be moving to Detroit, investing in Detroit? Is Detroit the North? The Atlanta of the North? Is Detroit the Houston of the North? Are we sleeping on Detroit, and should we be moving? Should black folks be moving to Detroit?
Yeah, man, y'all sleeping on Detroit because the white people, they didn't took it now. They didn't. They
wow,
you know what I'm saying? They really yeah, man. Like, it's so much. Like, yeah, man. Like, yeah. Black people should have never left Detroit.
Dang, there it is, right there. There it is.
We should have never left, man. We should have never left.
Should have never left.
We should have never left.
They was giving away buildings in Detroit. It was giving away city.
Listen, man, Coleman A. Young. Shout out to legendary Coleman A. Young. You know what I'm saying? I designed for the Coleman A. Young Foundation, so you know what I'm saying. But the Coleman A. Young, man, when he was mayor, he abandoned houses. If it was abandoned house for too long, he would let you get it for $1. Yep. You could buy abandoned houses in Detroit for $1. And when Coleman A. Young was mayor, listen, they said, you know, like most of the presidents, they say Coleman A. Young is the best black mayor that ever lived, for real. When Coleman A. Young was mayor, you had to live in Detroit to be a police officer or work for the city. So it was no white people couldn't come to our city and make money and police us and beat us and then go back to the burbs and sleep at night. Nope, you got to go to sleep down the street from the person you just beat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, see how it go. But that's how it was. You couldn't come to the city and take our resources and move and go back to the burbs. You had to live inside the city limits to work for the city. That was the best. That was great, man. Like, but as you know, 2000, the crisis of 2008 happened, man, and a lot of people left and abandoned their houses, man. A lot of people left and just left the city. You know what I'm saying? Even now, people still don't see what's happening. I get to see what's happening because I'm on the other side of the fence. You know what I'm saying?
Where are they going, though? Where are they going when they leave?
They move to the suburbs.
Oh,
they move. See, okay, look. So my auntie always used to tell me when I was young, right? When I was all the way from a kid to growing up, she would always say, "They gonna take all this. Don't let them take it." She would always talk like that. Yep, they coming to get it. She would always talk like that. These people trying to buy it. They trying to buy it. The land is worth this and that and that. She always talked about that. So we always had that in mind, like that they was gonna always kind of try and take the city back. My auntie, my older folks always talked about it. OGs always said it. That was the thing they always talked about. But what happened was the promise for, like you said, we want to live in the suburbs. We all want to live safe. Like it's dope when I go downtown and I can be in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? It's dope. And I hang in the suburbs too. I don't want y'all, I be in the burbs. I be everywhere. Yeah. I'm just saying, but we all wanted that, and people started moving out there. A lot of people, they made it affordable for people to move out there. They started doing whatever they could. And black people started moving out there and white people started moving back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will see white people in the ghetto. I'm talking about it was neighborhoods in Detroit where the whole block would be abandoned and the houses would be dilapidated, right? And you will see a white dude riding down the street on his bike in a bike suit, bright colors, and I'm like, what he doing over here? He where he coming from? Right. And the more we started seeing it, they started moving back in the neighborhoods because it was cheaper. Yeah. It was cheaper for them to live here and our work. Detroit got the best water irrigation system in the world. Like our drinking water is the best water in the world because of the Great Lakes. You know what I'm saying? Did you know that most, like 80-something% of the water, bottled water that's made in America that we all buying out of stores and stuff is made right here in Detroit, Michigan?
I know that.
Or in our area, yeah, they're getting the water.
No, one thing, our tap water here is horrible.
Our tap water is horrible here, bro.
Like pass out.
Not ours.
And obviously it ain't getting the Flint.
Our tap water is good. Our tap water until they run the pipe, until they run rust through the pipelines and try and kill us all. But our pipe water our water is good right now. If you get your Googles, do your Googles, you will see we got the best irrigation system in the world.
Say get your Googles.
They came back and took it back because it was always theirs anyway. You know what I'm saying? They just left, and we ran it, and people left their homes, and what happened in Detroit was, okay, grandma and them own their house because they used to work in the factory, right? Granddaddy and them bought a house and stuff. They own homes and businesses, right? But then they handed those businesses and homes to their kids and stuff, like in the 80s and 90s, right. Where they passed it down in the 90s and the 2000s. Most of those kids didn't want to live in those houses. They didn't want them houses, and they was like, no, they wanted to move to the burbs or rent, those houses got dilapidated. So what happened was, in the early 2000s, when it was a hustle for the crackheads to take all the copper out the houses, that's what they was doing. So they stripped all these houses of all the copper out of all these homes. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it was a nice house and it was somebody that was just living there. If you didn't go home to your house for 4 weeks, they'll go in your house and take your copper out. That's how bad it was, right? So they I called them termites at this time, because that's what it was like. That's what it was like, termites. Like, they just went through the house and just. So you can only imagine what that turned into. A bunch of houses that was really like they couldn't do nothing to. And people that would buy the house, it would cost so much to bring the house back up to code and all that. Right. That just caused the so now when the mayor came in, they had money to start tearing down all these dilapidated houses. These houses that have been standing since the 60s and 70s, I'm telling you, like since the first riot, it was houses that were still in businesses in Detroit that are still abandoned right now, that's been abandoned since the first riots and since white flight happened, when white people left the city right before the
60s, man. You talking about late 60s, early 70s, bro.
Yeah. Like, it's buildings in my neighborhood, that in my old hood, that ain't never been occupied with a business. And the ones that had business in the 80s, they still, just never came back. That's where my inspiration to do certain things in my city come from, because I've been here and I've seen it. Like, oh man, it'd be easy to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't take millions of dollars to do it. It just take just a little bit of effort us trying to do it. And I grew up seeing hustlers, and throughout the 80s, people having tire shops and and hardware stores and stuff like that. And why I can't have the filthy Americans and run it like a hardware store? You know what I'm saying? That could be my hardware store,
Indeed. Filthy, I got a question for you. Every week we do something called the burning question. Eric's burning question. The burning question I got for you is a little bit off topic, but it's something that I always wondered. I'm getting a chance to talk to somebody that's straight out of Detroit. My question is, why were y'all always so deep at Freaknik back in the day? Did you go to Freaknik in Atlanta back in the day?
You know what? I was supposed to go one time.
I
didn't get to go. I was supposed to go one time. My uncles and them, they started in like before Atlanta was Atlanta. My uncles and them was going down there, man. They had deals and everything. You know why? Because Detroit Atlanta was like a little hub for us, so we used to be down there. You know what I'm saying? They used to hustle down there. I know y'all know about the Big Meat. That's why Big Meat and them wound up being down there. Detroit was like a little hub for Atlanta. It was always a little secret spot for us. Like Minnesota, that's another one of our little hubs. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Detroiters in Minnesota. Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of our hubs. So Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Everybody coming to Freaknik to party, but we already there. We live there. You know what I'm saying? We just coming out for the weekend.
Stu, did you ever go to Freaknik back in the day?
My truth is,
I was this close to go. I was
never
young,
once went to Freaknik.
I missed out.
I was there, and look, I was at Southern Baton Rouge at the time. I was in undergrad. While see that's my spirit though. Where everybody going, I'm going the other way. So everybody flocking to the A, I'm going to H-Town. I'm going to hang out with Big Slim and them. I'm chilling. I'm going to H-Town where it's slow, steady. I don't like crowds. I never liked crowds anyway. This whole pandemic been all right with me. I ain't the crowd person, so I never went to Freaknik. Never once been to Freaknik.
Yeah, you wouldn't have liked Freaknik at all.
No, I know I wouldn't have. That's why I didn't go.
Nothing but people.
No, I'm ready. I'm out of there.
Yeah, man. I was this close to go. It was when we was younger, but I was this close to going, but I just kind of like my man. I'm kind of like, I don't know, like, you know, I probably should go. And then, you know, like back then, like we used to barely go out of town anywhere a lot. You know what I'm saying? When we was younger, so when we went, it used to be to certain places. So it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It didn't get till we started, you know, going out of town doing, you know, other stuff it was like. But by the time we was going to Atlanta, like, you know, or any of that Freaknik and all that was over with. It was like done, you know.
Bro, I know we're coming up on the end of our shows, episode 6, but I definitely, man, I'm super intrigued by Filthy American, and I know you know would probably Filthy America, I should say. Yeah, I know you would love to talk about it, but what keeps you going? Like, why Filthy America, man? Like, tell me, like, why Filthy America, bro? What's that all about?
You talking about the Filthy American?
Talking about the brand, the whole brand, the whole, like, what's filthy? Like, I got a brand. I'm not gonna talk about it, but what's Filthy America, bro? What's that all about?
The brand is Filthy Americans. This, I know my shirt say Filthy America, but this is my album.
Filthy Americas with an S.
Yeah, with an S. Filthy Americans.
Oh, Americans.
Filthy Americans. Yeah.
.com.
Yup. FilthyAmericans.com.
Okay.
The reason for the Filthy Americans is because we go back to Detroit again, because so I came up with the idea for the Filthy Americans because I wanted to create something that had meaning and history, you know, and it was linked to something. So the Filthy Americans is basically about the Filthy Americans, the copper people. The copper people, that's us. We the copper people. The Filthy Americans is the idea came from the copper people, the people that got their hands dirty, the people that, you know, had to struggle and survive to even be Americans, you know, because Americans, that's what they used to call people here. That's what they called you here when they came here. We was already here. They called us Americans. They called us copper. We was the copper-colored Americans, the Indians. That's where it all come from. The copper-colored people. We got our hand, and then we get our hands dirty. So it's the brand of the creatives. The people. Not, it ain't just for Black people though. It's just for people who get their hands dirty, creatives. You know, people who. You know what I'm saying?
Super dope, bro. I love it, man. I love it.
So that's what the whole. And the buffalo, I use the buffalo because, you know, buffaloes and Cardis is a Detroit thing, but the buffalo is because the Indians used to use the buffalo for everything. Like the buffalo would they would feed the buffalo with, you know, they would use every part of the buffalo, you know, not the native Indians, the Aboriginal Indians. They would use every part of the buffalo. You know what I'm saying? So I use the buffalo as my mascot, saying that we the Filthy Americans and we feeding the people. So we using all our resources and everything, you know, giving everything to help with the, you know, to help the people.
Love the concept. Before we have you, we appreciate you joining for so long and really giving us that deep education about Detroit. We got a lot of young listeners to the show, a lot of millennials, people that are like 38, 37. On this subject, are you soft for living in the suburbs? And I'm sure you would encourage them to come to Detroit and see it for themselves if they haven't. But what would be your final takeaways on this conversation about are you soft for living in the suburbs? what should somebody be thinking about that's a millennial in this regard? Say they're doing well and they're kind of going back and forth about whether they should go or not. What would you say to them?
Man, that's like you said, like I didn't look at it that way, but like you said, it does make people softer living in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? It does make you a little softer living in the suburbs, but absolutely. I don't know, like, is that a bad thing? You know what I'm saying?
That's what I wanted to get to. Like, with our culture, are we gonna ever get past this whole thing of we gotta be hard and we gotta be this, and like, why do we have to be the opposite? Nobody wants to be soft, right? We're not talking about somebody that's a pushover. But yeah, is it anything wrong with having a sort of easier lifestyle? Why do we always feel compelled to show the hard side? We got to give our, I used to live in the hood and all, what I'm saying? Like, when are we going to get past all of that as a people? Or is it something that's just part of our culture that we need to hang on to?
I think it's particularly when I think about men. I don't imagine, I guess, well, hell, I didn't imagine a lot of things men would be doing that I'm seeing them do today. But I think as men, our natural instinct is to juxtaposition, right? We're peacocks in a sense. As men, even we have that bravado, man. We do a little back and forth. We test each other's metal a little bit to see. I think it's just in our DNA and a scientist would have to prove me wrong, but our naturalness is to protect what's ours, to shoulder up. We were not pushovers, right? So I think we get some of that. I think what you're asking, I think it's a great question though, man. When is it okay to like just breathe a little easier and relax a little? And maybe where you rest your head is the place you'd like to be able to do that. And that doesn't necessarily make you soft for wanting to be able to breathe easy and not always have to puff your chest out. But I don't know if we're ever going to stop puffing our chest out. I think we all do it as men. I think it's par for the course. That's what I'm thinking as at this point in the conversation.
Yeah. What you think, Filthy?
I think it's never gonna be a time that we can do that. We're gonna forever have to be like that until the day we die. You know what I'm saying? Because the hunt is on. You know what I'm saying? And no matter where you go or where you trying, you can. It's for real. You know what I'm saying? We got our young girls coming up missing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched video, a few years back of these guys coming to our neighborhood, taking our kids and putting them in their vans and taking them away. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like for us to sit back and watch that happen. In Detroit, it was dudes riding around, doing that, raping women, and people was just filming it on their phones and stuff, man. So no, it ain't. I think we all done got a little too soft, to be quite honest. We all done forgot. You know what I'm saying? That it's a dangerous situation. It's a dangerous game being played right now. We all ignoring it and chucking and jiving, but it's real. It's real out here for real. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things going on that we ignoring. Like so. I don't think it don't even depend on where we live at, but the threat is always for real.
Threat is always real, yeah.
But I will agree with you, Eric. I don't think you're soft for living in the suburbs. I don't think you're soft, but I could see how somebody would try to side for living in the suburbs. Say it again.
It just relax you a little bit.
Yeah.
You ain't as tense going to the. But see, for me, so
some people are soft though. Some people, we got to say this too, like, because I've lived everywhere. It's people that live in the hood that's soft as a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Everybody that lives in the hood.
Like, I've seen
y'all was just asking me about Shine for this same reason. That's why y'all was asking me about Shine, because y'all like, man, a dude like him can't be from the hood. But it's like all type of people in the hood. Everybody in the hood ain't like trying to hurt nobody, or it's more people in the hood that don't want no trouble than do, man, to be quite honest. It goes back to what I just said about the person that's breaking in the house. It ain't the whole neighborhood,
right?
They want him gone just like you do. You know what I'm saying? It's just that they ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be the one that's gonna say something. That's all.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But I don't think people soft for living in the. I don't think people soft for living in the suburbs. But I think, you know, we sometimes we let our guard down when we living in the suburbs. You see how, you know, some people change a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
You're softer when you live in the suburbs. Like I have to bear witness to that. I mean, it ain't.
You talking born and raised?
Yeah, well, no, I don't say it either. I know people that live in the suburbs that born and raised in the suburbs. They're not necessarily soft, but I'm just saying if you come from an urban environment, you're gonna get softer when you live in the suburbs, like you just are, because you just don't have the same threats that we've been talking about on a daily basis.
Your guards.
You've been a person that's been shot before.
That's
shot cats, and all that, and then you in the suburbs and you don't have to do that no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you got to come outside and bust your ratchet off every morning to let them know what you're doing in the birds. Let them know you from the wild. Let them know you ain't playing no games out there with them. Let them know you from the wild hundreds and you
in jail in 5 minutes. But yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, man. No, I'm just
this is a good conversation for us to have, because, and then the other thing that I want to say real quick is, with our people, we always go to the physical part first, but you got the whole concept of being soft mentally. And we don't talk about that part enough, man. Like, I'm gonna tell you this: you're talking about us doing the Googles to Detroit. Do the knowledge to Evanston, Illinois.
Yeah, y'all.
Tell you something. There's some strong Black people out here, for real. And I'm not talking about physical, but I'm talking about people out here fighting for reparations. People who are in city government and they're not scared at all. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to start talking more about that. They have made history. They brought a lot of people out here because they got reparations situations happening for Black people. They got a fund established. To me and my older self, that's what being hard is about now. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what being hard is about. Because that's the hard part. You know what I'm saying?
That's the hard part.
Yeah, fighting for something for real. That's the hard part. Standing up, you know, being a leader in the community, standing up for what's right. You know what I'm saying? That's the hard part. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to go out there and but it's hard to stand up for the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna stand up for, like you saying, standing up for reparations? You know, people scared to talk about that. You know, they scared to stand up for that, and you know what I'm saying? People don't even want you even mentioning that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the hard part. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about peace, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, we you know, and helping the community and seeing how we can advance and just, you know, investing in the youth, and you know what I'm saying? Like, trying to get them some game and get them the game and correct them with some of the lessons that the stuff that they was teaching us that wasn't the right thing to do. You know, it's all about, you know, trying to invest in the future, because, you know, like, most of us, like, we kind of set in our own ways, and we kind of like trying to just go to work and just, you know, stay out the way, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to ruffle no feathers.
Absolutely.
The Filthy Americans is here to ruffle some feathers, though.
Yeah, brother.
Brother, why don't you tell the people where they can find all your social media stuff and your website and everything so that they can be connected to your brand?
All right. I'm on you can follow me on IG, Filthy Rockwell, all one word, FILTHYROCKWELL, all one word. And the Filthy Americans is on IG too. Filthy Americans, all one word. Okay. FILTHYAMERICANS.
Okay. You got any events coming up that we can come to?
Man, I'm doing a jazz event on the 21st. February the 21st. We're doing the Day of Jazz. Like, we're doing the Day of Jazz where we bringing out all these jazz artists from the city. You know, not all, it's just 6 jazz artists we're gonna bring out from the city, and we just trying to raise money to help this nonprofit called Frugal on the Fly with this they just got this access to a whole floor for women and children, and we just want to help them redesign it and make it more you know, just better for the kids and the women. So that's what we're doing with the Day of Jazz, to help raise money for that. You know, that I'm all about that. You know, I did, like, for Christmas, we did the Adopt a Block, you know what I'm saying, where we you know, got all these donations, and we got toys and everybody donated toys, and on Christmas Day we went and we donated not donated, we went and we took the toys door to door, you know, and it was snowing like hell on Christmas, but that's what made it dope though. But so that's what we all about, you know what I'm saying? The skate park, like we all about just helping the community, man. So that's what that's what we all about doing, man. Like that's all we can do, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Salute to you for that, man. And thank you so much for coming on today. I know people got a lot of historical knowledge. They got a lot of philosophical points of view, and they got a chance to know you better. I feel like sometimes people don't get a chance to learn who the producers are behind some of their favorite artists. So I think it was good for people to hear you directly and see what you're about and have those conversations. So thank you for coming on, man. Maybe you can come back and join us again for season 4.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. And go stream Filthy America, man. My album, man. I got the art exhibition coming out, Dreaming in Color, The Beautiful Nightmare, based around Filthy America, the album. So I want y'all to, you know, just go stream it and check it out, man. And I got the exhibition coming. It's gonna be visuals. I'm gonna be doing an exhibition at my store in sometime in March. I think we're gonna do it, but it'll be uploaded to YouTube and everything, man. I'm gonna reach out. Okay. I'm gonna shoot it to y'all. I want to get y'all opinion on the album when y'all get a chance to listen to it.
Okay, no question.
No doubt, man, for real.
You got
it. Tell Kanye I'm on his ass.
No doubt.
No doubt.
I'm just playing. All right, y'all, man.
Love, brother.
Peace, brother.
Peace. Love, y'all.
Man, that was a good conversation.
Oh, that's a dope brother, man.
I like him. Detroit's very own Filthy Rockwell.
Man, you
did this. Brother, I want to ask you, man. I know we went over time, but I want to ask you: do you have any final comments on this topic for today? Like, did your mindset get expanded, or is it pretty much what you thought?
It got expanded, but it's what I expect from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I learned a lot. I think Filthy was a great guest, and I have a slightly different perspective on maybe even not, you know, I'm rushing to move out the city right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe how do I find my own utopia, begin to build a utopia
in the
city?
Yeah, man.
Similar to what he was describing, that old school Detroit, the black utopia. I love the idea of that 24-hour economy.
Yeah, I had never heard of that. I'm gonna do some more research on it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, especially right now. Yeah.
What about you, man? It's your topic, you know, and let me go on. Most of these topics are yours. I'm the wing, right? So this is great.
Hey, Wallace.
In your own development of this episode, did you come out more enlightened, different? Did it turn the way that you expected? How was this for you?
It was good, man. I like Filthy when I talked to him on the phone, he was very laid back, but I could see that other side of him today, which was fun, right? You know, that's why I like doing live episodes. You just don't know what's going to happen. And he was very willing to talk about this and to share a lot about Detroit. For me, I just continue to think it's funny that we all have this thing about wanting to show our hood side and not necessarily embrace the suburban part of ourselves, or the part of ourselves that really wants to move to the suburbs. It's just funny to me how we've been conditioned that way, you know. And I'm not any different than anybody else. I just think it's comical. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to do anything, but I just think it's funny, man. I think our conversation today, it just kind of emphasized that for me. It's like, when are we going to move away from that? Even myself, that thinking about, like, just think about this. Wouldn't you want to be from the suburb? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish that I had grew up in a multi-million-dollar house in Wilmette.
Dang.
Who wouldn't want that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong, I love my experiences that I've had, but like, wouldn't you want to be in a $10 million house in Wilmette? I mean, it's not
but I think here's the problem. And why we didn't get to dig into it, and I do see the time. So my children, my oldest children were raised in the suburb. And I wonder if I haven't verified, but I've questioned this. Do they feel as connected to their blackness? How does that play out in their desire to want to be in the city? Because the majority of black folks in this area of Chicago are not in the suburbs per se, or they're not living as, they're living in the city, man. And it's perceived as living rough, right? If you live in the city as a black person, unless you live in one of these affluent neighborhoods in the city, you probably struggling a little bit, is the perception. And so if you black and you born and raised in the suburbs, there might be some sort of desire to experience, the elements of true blackness, which comes from being in the hood a little bit.
Well, I've thought about that with my own children, right? Because at this point they're pretty much in the suburbs. But I'll say this, like, I just want to ask this question. Why do we still connect blackness with struggle, though?
Yeah, well, because it has been, Eric.
It has been.
It has been.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask that differently. Not connected, but why is that somewhat kind of our main point of reference? Is it because we feel like we're continuing to struggle so much?
No, I think it's part of the conditioning that success only comes after struggle. I mean, how many times have you heard that success is after struggle only? Success is before struggle only in the dictionary. Like supposedly you gotta struggle in order to be successful. And so everybody's doesn't understand that maybe you don't have to struggle to be successful.
Yeah, you have to fail. I hear this thing about failing faster and all this stuff, but yeah, you don't necessarily have to struggle. You could struggle and not fail. You could fail and not struggle.
Yeah. So we got Roslyn brings up a couple of good points. Roslyn, thank you for your comments. Street smarts is a large part of it. Pride. I love what BX, she's talking about the BX, is that Bronx, the Boogie Down Bronx.
He's definitely from the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx.
And she also goes on to say that she's got to raise her kids in the city at certain ages, so they have that character. Now that's that character piece that I guess you just don't get living in the suburbs.
I guess, yeah. I can't say that that's not a thing. I mean, she's definitely on to something. I don't know why we can't. Here's my thing. I'm trying to figure out, how can we give our kids character without living in the city? Is it possible?
I think it is possible, but when you go up, so if your kids go, I mean, I think when they meet and see, this is a larger conversation.
Yeah,
it's like, man, when they meet some people that are from the inner city of Detroit or the inner city of LA or the inner city of Chicago, they're not viewed the same. You ain't from you. It's where do we get that from? That you don't have the same character, the same perspective, even.
I'll give you an example to your point. Dwayne Wade, right?
Yeah.
Universally respected basketball player. He didn't grow up in the city of Chicago. He grew up in the suburbs, right?
Robbins, though. Robbins
is like the hood suburb?
Is worse than the city.
Okay.
It's worse than the city. Like where he grew up, it's terrible.
Okay.
Suburb. Like nobody.
That's what I was saying earlier in the show. Like you got these suburbs here in Chicago that are not typical quote unquote suburbs.
You go out. He could go out and be like, "Nigga, where y'all from? We from Robbins." Be like, "Oh, okay." It ain't like you saying you from Naperville. No diss to Naperville.
Hamburg or somewhere.
Yeah. Because even if there's parts of Bolingbrook or Joliet, you might be like, "Oh, okay."
Nah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I don't know. I hope we continue to evolve in that area, and I'm not acting like I'm evolved in that area. I still have my own thoughts about that. They really haven't changed that much, but I just feel like to push the culture, we got to stop thinking that everything has to be a struggle in order to like grow. Like, I know we got to fail. I don't know if I'm wording this right, but it's like a person could be in a $10 million home and still push the culture forward if they chose to. look at Russell Simmons, for example. He grew up in Queens, but he didn't grow up in like a hood or anything like that. Look how much he pushed the culture of hip hop forward. I'm just using it as an example.
See, that brings up, man, that's a huge, man, you bringing up something. This is man, this is deep, because I think, you know, when you start talking about, and now we need to go into which suburbs are we talking about, right? And so now I want to specifically focus on the more affluent suburbs. So if you were lucky enough to be raised in an affluent suburb, right, you would like to think that in an ideal situation, I would like to frame it as your parents were accomplished enough, at least one of your parents were accomplished enough to afford you that experience of being raised in an affluent suburb, right? And so you are born with certain access at this point, and which may make it somewhat more, it may make sense why, you know, somebody can come and push the culture forward who lives in the suburb, because they had access to certain resources that you may not have had if you were born and raised in the inner city of some of these big, large chocolate cities. You know what I mean? So I want to unpack that. Maybe we'll have to bring that back in season 4 or season 5, man, and unpack this portion of the conversation. You know, maybe it's like how do we push the culture forward? Like some things that we need to do. This is big, though.
Yeah, we need to revisit, because now I'm thinking about Jay-Z. So Jay-Z's definitely pushed the culture forward. Nas is from Queensbridge. Jay is from Marcy Projects. You know what I mean? So it's like you got your Russell Simmons, but then you got your Jay and Nas. You know, so it's like, I think we just have to accept that the culture can be pushed forward regardless of where you live. It's your mentality.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll revisit it next season. So I know we went way over. Do we have time for a pool artist outro?
We do, and we have time for, because it's our show, we have time for characters for corporate.
All right.
Come on now.
I thought we weren't going to be able to do it.
No, man, we got to do our thing, man. This
That's the beautiful thing about having your own show.
It's our own shit, man, and the people want it. The people want it.
All right. So if you're just tuning in, this is season 3, episode 6 of the MONEYSEXGENX podcast. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable.
Doing it. And it's because this is our show. I'm going to do this real quick too, Stu. I want to shout out to our production team.
Yes.
That is Betty Nelson from Nelson Career Curators, who's consistent with her talent acquisition efforts. Mark Sanders, who is a Howard University Bison, who is running our email campaigns. We got Michelle Presley from MLP Virtual Assistants, who's helping us with administrative tasks. We got Little Eric, my son, who's helping with video editing. We have Sakara Fields from New York City, a new addition to the team. Sakara is tearing it up. I saw some really, our social media game is about to go to a whole nother level.
Yep.
And then we got Taylor Mason, who is a Hampton University Pirate.
Come through.
From Edify Consulting. So I just wanted to thank our team. We couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much. So let's get to characters from corporate. This week, characters from corporate comes from a 34-year-old Black woman from Los Angeles, California.
Shout out to LA.
Shout out to LA. I work in real estate as a real estate broker. I work in a very competitive environment and find myself outproducing most of the people on our team. I find myself getting more and more cocky by the day.
Damn.
Struggling balancing success with being humble. I told a member the other day from my team that my network is so strong that I could quit right now and have hundreds of job offers within 15 minutes. I know that I'm the character from corporate, but how do I balance success with being humble?
Wow.
That's one of my favorite submissions. Wow. And I was real. That was real. Successful, Stu. You know how it is.
I know how it is. I've been burned by my own ego in the past. My own pride and ego has burned me. And,
so what would you say, though, man? She's trying to balance success with being humble.
Well, at least you know. And I think the what you do is you focus on it every day. Focus on it every day and look, now I'm about to go here. You've never, none of you in 2.5, 3 seasons have ever heard this part of me. but I'm about to go there. You have to ask God to minimize you and maximize him. Ask God for the guidance. That's what works for me.
Ask God to help me.
Ask God for the guidance. Okay. Eric?
What do I have to say about that? Well, I'll say this. Sometimes you need to be cocky, arrogant, and less than humble to get to where you're trying to go. But maybe you could, you know, young lady from LA, maybe you can keep a lot of that in your mindset and not necessarily display that or put that on people. Right. So some of the most successful people that I've ever met in my life, they treated other people very well. Even though in their mind, they probably was like, yo, I'm that dude. I'm the illest. I'm the best. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's the kind of stuff that goes on in my mind. You know, I do that for motivation, but I try to continue to treat people very well. So I would just encourage you to create a separation between what you need to do in your mindset to keep moving and how you treat a person.
Yeah, I want to add to another thing you could do is test yourself. If you believe all you're saying is true, put yourself in the water and make sure and see if you can swim. And that's going to humble you one way or the other. The other, you know, going to humble you or feed your ego. The other thing I want you to do is make sure that you are, again, just not trying to take all the credit. Like, give credit because some people have helped you get to where you are, even if it's your clients. So you have to add, hey, I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for my clients.
That's right.
Add that into the conversation as well.
Great advice. Great advice. Characters from corporate. Keep writing in. We want to keep hearing your stories. I like the fact that you all are questioning yourselves. That's the sign of an intelligent person. You're wondering, like, how can I do these things? We're here. We got you. Characters from corporate.
All right. Here we go.
Take us out. We
got a pool artist. It's a Chicago classic artist. One of the best. I think the audio is going to be fine. We're about to hear from TMC from the Dirty 130s, Oak Hill Gardens. He's going to take us out. We'll see you guys back here next episode next week. TMC, take us home, bro.
To be a straight G, I shine so bright that these shady niggas can't see. Running up 8 deep, charging like a late fee.